Hi guys, with the upcoming release of SilverWolf, I thought I'll make kind of a discussion video about how good SilverWolf will be. I feel like SilverWolf is going to be one of a kind character for a very long time, mostly because of her ability to modify so much layers of the damage multiplication formula. Even with the nerf that she got, the damage potential is still there. Previously, she was able to add multiple weaknesses to an enemy. Now she's only able to keep one weaknesses. To be honest, this could be easily manipulated since most of the times enemies has multiple weaknesses, so you don't have to bring like a mono team or like a double element team with quantum. Bringing just one off element DPS easily mitigates the nerf, and the rest is just numbers nerf. As you will see in this video, the number that she can output is still pretty insane. Well, first, let's talk about her skill Allow Changes. This skill basically can modify the enemy's weakness type. This actually goes way beyond just enabling your character to break the enemy. Basically, if the enemy is not weak to a certain element, you will deal 20% less damage to that enemy. Now, SilverWolf ability, once she has added the weakness, she nullifies that and add another 10% damage debuff on top of that. For example, if your skill deals 100 damage, without SilverWolf, it will deal 80% of its damage, so 80. With SilverWolf skill active, you will deal 110% damage. So you will deal 110 damage. The way this ability works is different from your regular bonus damage buff, making her the only unit that is able to do this as of now. Next, let's talk about her ultimate. This is where the bulk of her damage increasing debuff comes from. Her ult basically deals damage and defense shred the enemies by 45%, similar to Pella's ult. But the thing is that this ultimate is single target, unlike Pella's ultimate, which is AoE. 45% defense shred roughly translates to around 30% more damage from your skill. Her ultimate when compared to someone like Pella's is obviously not that impressive, but let's talk about her talent next. Her talent, Awaiting System Response, is somewhat RNG, but the debuff that it gives lasts for 3 turns, making it possible for you to stack all 3 in one enemy. Now, the only damage increasing debuff from her talent is Defense Shred for 8%. The attack reduce is kinda useless on high level enemies. Well, it will definitely make an impact, but not that much. The speed debuff is just nice to have, but the Defense Shred is definitely the star of the show here. I have done a little bit of calculation myself, and it seems like if you stack her ultimate with her talent and her skill debuff, you will get around 90% increase in your skill damage. The way I calculate this is from a non-weak enemy to a certain element with an enemy that has been debuffed by SilverWolf's ultimate. 90% is pretty insane. Now, some of you guys are probably wondering, what if I stack SilverWolf's kit and Pella's ultimate? Well, I got you covered. With SilverWolf's kit and Pella's ultimate combined, you will get an increase of 168% of your damage. Well, this is some pretty insane number, isn't it? Now that you already know the numbers and how much damage SilverWolf is able to do, let's talk about her weaknesses. Her glaring weaknesses when compared to someone like Pella is that she is a hard single target unit, meaning it's going to be really hard for her to clear up the first waves of Memory of Chaos, for example. Her next weakness that comes with the nerf is that she can only retain one added elemental weakness to the enemy, so this will limit her team way more. But it's still kind of easy to manipulate this with your team. You can just use a DPS that has an element that the enemy is not weak to, and the rest of your team will be the element that the enemy has innate weakness to. Now, I want to talk about someone like Pela and SilverWolf combined with other supporting characters like Bronya or Tingyun and how they work together. The value that someone like SilverWolf and Pela brings to the table is way different than someone like Bronya. To better understand this, we need to understand the damage formula that this game abides by. In order to calculate the damage in this game, you need to do this formula right here. Someone like Tingyun and Bronya modifies the damage percent multiplier, the base damage, and the crit damage multiplier, while someone like Pela and SilverWolf modifies the defense multiplier and resistant multiplier. So supporting characters like Bronya actually works hand in hand with SilverWolf, since part of the multiplication that they modify are different from each other. It's better to bring a debuffer and another support for maximum damage instead of running a solo debuffer with a bunch of DPS, for example. I also did some calculation regarding Bronya's kit combined with SilverWolf's kit, and the damage is kind of insane. It's even better than Bronya and Ting Yun, but of course SilverWolf requires extra condition to activate. The next part that I want to talk about is skill point efficiency. How efficient is she with skill point? The only time she needs to use her skill is to reset the weakness addition, so once every 2 turns of the enemy. This means you can slip in 1 or 2 auto attack after your skill depending on how fast your SilverWolf is and how slow the enemy is. You can even slip in 3 auto attacks. So there's no world where she will be skill point minus. So I can safely say she is a pretty skill point efficient unit. Now, just for funsies, I actually compared Bronya and SilverWolf supporting damage output. The answer is actually kind of expected by me. Basically, Bronya will do around the same damage when the DPS that they support crits, with Bronya giving 50% crit damage to the DPS. While if the DPS doesn't crit, it's very obvious that SilverWolf will dwarf Bronya's damage output. But yeah, just like I said earlier, both of this support is very different and not meant to be compared with each other. So, how strong will SilverWolf be? For me, a unit like SilverWolf will be a hard unit to find. A unit that can modify the resistance of your enemy is going to be always relevant. Or there might not be another one other than SilverWolf in a very long time. Other debuffer usually only modifies defenses and the damage taken debuff like Sampo and Pella. So if I have to say myself, she's going to be one of the best, if not the best debuffer for a long time. And if you're wondering how I spout the numbers, saying the percentage increase and stuff, for the nerds out there, I present my calculation in the description, but my brain is only slightly better than a monkey, so excuse me if there's some wrong numbers and hard to read formula. But yeah, that is pretty much it, and as usual guys, stay broke and keep playing gacha games.